Welcome to Burn the Rules with Chet. This podcast is for people who know leadership isn't about titles, noise, or ticking boxes. It's about how you think, how you show up, and how you perform when pressure is real. I'm Chet Hirani, and I work with leaders and high performers across business, sport, and life all over the world who want to take control of how they lead and perform. Not by copying someone else's rules, but by understanding themselves first. Every conversation here is grounded in experience, reflection, and practical insight. So if you're ready to question what leadership has been taught to be and decide what it means for you, you're in the right place. I was 29 years old, working in finance in London, and I had a manager who reviewed every single email before I was allowed to send it. Not the client-facing stuff, not the sensitive stuff, every single email. I remember one morning, I had been at my desk for about 20 minutes, 2 flagged emails already sitting in my inbox from him. One of them, he'd rewritten 3 words, and added a full stop. The other was a reminder that all the emails needed to go through him before going anywhere, no exceptions. So one time I sent a basic status update without his sign-off. Nothing controversial, just a routine update. Within minutes, I was called into his office. He looked up from his screen and said, "You sent this without me checking it." I paused. Had I made a mistake? No, but what if you had? What if you had? That's the line that stayed with me, not because it was powerful, because it was the perfect summary of everything wrong with the old rules of leadership. Lead through control, lead through fear, lead through assumptions that people will fail unless you're standing over their shoulder. And the worst part, it worked, not on my performance, on my confidence. I started second guessing everything. Simple emails became 20-minute tasks. I'd write something, rewrite it, forward the draft to him. Wait, I lost momentum. I lost trust in my own judgment. And that's exactly what the old rules do. They don't develop leaders, they create dependence. Today, it's just me, no guest, because this one's personal. And honestly, it's the conversation I think a lot of you need to hear right now. The episode is called "The Rules Lied to You." And if you're listening to this feeling stuck, feeling like you're doing everything you were told to do, and it's still not landing, stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why that is, and more importantly, what to do about it. So let's get right into it. The rule book nobody questions. Let me lay something out to you. There's a rule book that most leaders follow, and most of them didn't even realize they picked it up. Nobody handed it to them in a meeting. Nobody put it in their contract. But it's there. It's been there since day one. And the rules go something like this. Work harder than everyone else in the room. Don't show weakness. Control the outcome. Protect your position. Success is the title. Success is the salary. Success is looking like you've got it all figured out, even when you're falling apart behind closed doors. Does that sound familiar? I followed that rule book over 20 years at Selfridges, DHL, Tesco's, Ted Baker, M&S. I was in the room. I was building teams from scratch, leading multi-million-pound programs, working directly with C-suite stakeholders. I was the one calling out hard truths when delivery or risk was off track. And by every external measure, it was working. But here's what I saw again and again and again. Burnout, self-doubt, and this massive gap between what leaders know they should be doing and what they actually do under pressure. That gap isn't closed with more training. It's not closed with another framework off a slide deck. It's closed by rewiring how you think, decide, and act in real time. But the old rules don't teach you that. The old rules teach you how to perform, to keep the mask on, to measure success by what other people see and what other people can see. And I bought into that, bought into it fully until the rules stopped working for me. This is the moment everything cracked. A few years back, I'm sitting across from a doctor and he tells me I've got cancer. Everything froze. Career, plans, progress, gone. Just like that. All the things I'd been chasing, all the rules I'd been following, every box I'd been ticking, none of it mattered in that moment. Now, they later found out it was actually tuberculosis. So there was some relief, but also, and this is the most important part, there was a reckoning, because in that space between the diagnosis and the correction, I had to face something. I'd been on autopilot, measuring success purely by outcomes, performing, not living, hitting targets, but running on empty. And that's the thing about the old rules. They don't fall apart when things are going well. They fall apart when life hits you. When you're in the doctor's office, when you're staring at a ceiling at 2 a.m, wondering if the version of you that shows up at work is even real anymore. The old rules don't have a chapter for that. Then came redundancy for me. My role was cut, and I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you here. It was a Thursday morning, a short video call. Your role is being made redundant. I nodded, closed the laptop, walked into the kitchen, and cracked open a bottle of champagne. Not because I was happy to lose a paycheck, but because for the first time in years, I had space, I had freedom. I'd spent years delivering for someone else's vision, following someone else's rules, and that moment gave me the chance to build my own. And I didn't waste it. And that's when I knew the old rules weren't just not working, they were the thing keeping me stuck. So here's 3 rules that need burning from my perspective. So let's break down exactly what I mean when I say the old rules are broken, because this isn't abstract. These are specific. So old rule number 1, control equals leadership. Go back to that story I told you at the top there. The manager reviewing every email. That wasn't leadership. That was insecurity, dressed up as diligence. And it's everywhere. Leaders who can't let go, who micromanage because they're terrified that if they're not involved, they become irrelevant. And here's the truth. The more you control, the less your team grows. You're not building leaders under you. You're building people who can't make a decision without checking with you first. I work with executives now who come to me because their team can't operate without them. And every single time, the root cause is the same. They never let go of the reins. Not because the team wasn't capable, because they were afraid to trust. So the new rule, trust is the strategy. Let them send the email. Let them lead the meeting. Let them run with the project. That's what real leadership looks like. Old rule number 2, don't show weakness. This one is deep. This one is cultural, especially in corporate. You learn very quickly that vulnerability is a liability. You don't talk about doubt. You don't talk about fear. You definitely don't admit you're struggling. See, I remember leading a team through a major restructuring. The brief was clear: streamline operations, make cuts, realign teams, but nothing about it felt clean. Departments were out of sync. Morale was fragile. Everyone was waiting for answers I didn't have yet. And I remember sitting in my home office late at night, elbows on the desk, head in my hands, asking myself, am I out of my depth? What if I get this wrong? What if the trust never comes back? The old rules would say, don't let anyone see that. Keep the mask on. Project confidence. But what I've learned through and lived experience and through coaching leaders all over the world is that the strongest leaders are the ones who can say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm working through this with you. That's not weakness. That's what trust is actually built on. Old rule number 3, success is the title. This is the trap, and it's one that catches the most ambitious people. You chase the promotion, you get the title, you hit the salary, and then you look around and think, is that it? I had the titles, I had the corporate roles at household names. I was in the room with C suites. And what I found was that success measured by external markers alone is empty. It doesn't fill you, it drains you because you're constantly performing to maintain something that was never aligned with who you actually are. The new rule success is alignment. It's when what you do matches who you are. When your energy, your values, your actions, they're all pointing in the same direction. See, now that's performance, that's sustainable. Everything else is just a mask with a nice salary attached. So, what I learned this was the hard way. I want to take you somewhere. Okay. Now, picture this picture an English countryside, rolling hills, steep hills, long and empty roads. I'm on a bike 180 miles over 2 days, and I'm in deep down these Chiltern Hills. No spectators, no music, just me, the road, and every thought I've been avoiding. And by midday, I was already battling. My legs were gone, my gears were all wrong. I fell off the bike more than once. I limped into base camp at the end of day one, physically wrecked. Then day two was pure survival. But here's what happened on that ride. Every mile stripped something away. The roles, the ego, the noise. And what was left was one question. Who am I when there's no one watching? Let me repeat that again. Who am I when there's no one watching? That's the question the old rules never ask you. Because the old rules are all about who you are when everyone is watching. The performance, the presence, the polished version. But real leadership, that's what happens when you strip all of that away. When you're on mile 140 of 180, your body's screaming, and only thing keeping you going is something inside you that no title, no salary, no rule book could ever give you. That ride is where the 5 states of optimization were born: planning, productivity, people, prospect, and performance. Not as theory, as lived experience. Because I realized on that bike that everything I'd been chasing externally already existed internally. I just hadn't built that framework to access it. And that's what I mean when I say lead from within. See, this is not a slogan, it's a shift. It's deciding that the rules you follow from now on are the ones you write yourself. So this is your move. So let me bring this all the way back home for you. Because I'm not here just to tell stories. I'm here to challenge you. If you're listening to this right now and something's resonating, if there's a part of you that knows the rule book you've been following is past its expiry date, then here's what I want you to do. Not next week, not when things calm down, but today. Number one, identify one rule you're still following that you've never actually questioned. Maybe it's about how you show up in meetings. Maybe it's about what success looks like for you. And maybe it's about how much control you feel you need to have. But just name it. Number two, ask yourself, is the rule serving me or am I serving the rule? Because there's a big difference. And most people don't stop long enough to figure out which one it is. And number three, take one action that breaks the pattern. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be small. Let someone else lead the meeting. Have the honest conversation you've been dodging. Say no to the thing that drains you. Start building from within instead of performing from without. That's where it starts. Not with a complete overhaul, with one honest moment where you choose differently. Look, I'm sitting here, rather, telling you this from some perfect place where I've got it all sorted. I haven't. I'm still burning rules. I'm still learning. I'm still being challenged. But the difference is I stopped following someone else's playbook and started writing my own. And that's what I want for you. The old rules served a purpose once, but they're not built for where you're going. And deep down, you know that the question is, what are you going to do about it? So if this episode hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you want to go deeper, grab a copy of my book, Burn the Rules, Lead from Within. And if you're a leader who's ready to stop playing by the rules that no longer serve you, just reach out. That's exactly who I actually work with. So as you know, I'm Chet Hirani. This is Burn the Rules, and I will see you on the next one. Before you go, take a moment to think about what stayed with you from this conversation. Not what sounded impressive, but what challenged how you think, decide, or lead. See, leadership isn't something you wait for. It's something you practice internally, daily, and deliberately. And remember this, you can't lead a life that matters by following rules that don't. If this episode gave you perspective, share it with someone who's ready to take more control of how they lead and perform. And subscribe wherever you listen, and keep redefining leadership on your own terms.